Hi, this is Christian with Forest of Art and Healing Arts. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the role of fascia in immune system health. Fascia is a connective tissue, and its role in health has been little understood by allopathic medicine. Holistic practitioners, especially body workers, have known about the role of fascia in health and in immune health for decades. In fact, it's the primary tissue that structural body workers, craniosacral therapists, and people who do visceral manipulation work with. Anatomy research is only within the last 12 years or so waking up to the importance of fascia. There's lots of new research. There are fascia conferences and there are documentaries on television about the importance of fascia. The main point I want to make in this video is that keeping your fascia healthy, supple, fluid, and energetic will support your immune system tremendously. While on the other hand, unhealthy fascia, stiff, hardened, and lifeless, will inhibit the efficient functioning of your immune system and make you vulnerable to becoming ill. Right now, during the COVID-19 pandemic, this is an important piece of information to have and to act upon. During this video, I'm going to take you on a journey through the anatomy and physiology of fascia. Now, there's a lot of information, so if you want to cut to the chase, I'll give that to you right now. To have good fascia health, first, stretch. Every day, slowly and gently. Don't just stretch where it feels good to stretch. Find that place that is resistant, where it's uncomfortable to stretch, and stretch there, slowly, gently. And be prepared for results that are not only physical, but may also include an emotional response to the stretching. Taking a yoga class is a good way to find those tight and resistant spots in your body. Make sure that you choose a yoga style that moves slowly and is meticulous in the placement of your body. I favor Iyengar yoga, and there is also yin yoga and restorative yoga, which are useful for different reasons. Second, get body work, get massage, all different kinds of massage, but especially structural bodywork, craniosacral therapy, and visceral manipulation work directly with the fascia. You should also be getting lymph drainage therapy, which works directly with the lymphatic system. Everybody should be getting bodywork at least once a week. Those who are ill and need to improve their immune system should be getting bodywork in small doses at first, every day. Whatever kind of socioeconomic system we're going to need to provide this for ourselves, let's create it. It is also possible to do bodywork on a daily basis on yourself using self-massage balls. I recommend the Yoga Tune-Up series of balls. Now, for those of you who are interested, let's explore fascia and learn why stretching and bodywork are necessary for a healthy body and especially a well-functioning immune system. Our bodies are made up of 4 tissues: muscle tissue, nerve tissue, epithelial tissue, which is your skin and the lining of all the tubes and organs inside you, and connective tissue. Fascia is a part of connective tissue. The different types of connective tissue include bone, cartilage, aponeurosis, tendon, ligament, fascia, fat, blood, and lymph. Let's consider for a second the fibrous connective tissues, which are the ligament, tendon, aponeurosis. And so these are fibers, collagen fibers, and elastin fibers, set within a ground substance. And they're useful for resisting pull or helping the muscles and the bones do their work. Ligaments connect bones to bones, and tendons connect muscles to bones. Aponeurosis are like large flat tendons. The same fibers that make up ligaments and tendons also make up bones. And a bone is simply connective tissue, but with a mineral matrix on it. The fibers from a tendon, as it's coming in to connect to a bone, penetrate that bone, the fibers are continuous with each other. Where you have a mineral matrix on the fibers, that's bone. Connective tissue is a fluid crystal, so the bone can grow out onto the tendon or onto the ligament if you're using them in a way that is injurious. If you're using the tendons and ligaments in a way that's requiring them to be harder, you can grow crystals on there, and that's, for example, what we call a bone spur. So this is a fluid system that can change from one structure into another structure. Now let's consider the connective tissue on the other side, the liquid ones. Lymph and blood made in the bone marrow, fat made in the bone marrow. These communicate, in a sense, connecting also parts of the body as they move around minerals and chemicals. And fat stores energy molecules. In the middle between these two sides, we have fascia, the topic of this video. Fascia is a fibrous connective tissue that can be found absolutely everywhere in the body. All of your organs are surrounded by fascia. All of your muscles are surrounded by fascia. Your bones are surrounded by fascia. Your ligaments, your tendons, your eyeballs are surrounded by fascia. Your brain surrounded and divided by fascia. The fascia around your brain is called the meninges. Your spinal cord, every nerve is surrounded by fascia. And the fascia of each part of the body is continuous with the other fascia around it. So as your nerves come out of your spinal cord, that fascia then becomes continuous with fascia of the ligaments and the tendons and the bones around your spinal cord. So you have this network of fascia. Well, it's even more ubiquitous than that, because cells, the structure of cells, is microfascia. The cytoskeleton of the cells, the centrioles, the microtubules, all parts of the cell are microfascia. If I were to zap you in such a way that I got rid of every part of your body except your fascia, not only would I still see that it's a human there, but I would still see that it's you there. That is to say, fascia also holds your character. Whatever posture you have, however you are in the world, fascia is going to hold that. Also, everything that's happened to you in your life is registered in your fascia. Let's consider now the anatomy of fascia. There are fibers called collagen fibers, made of a protein called collagen. And this is going to resist pull, but it will also stretch. As you pull fascia slowly, it stretches. The faster you pull fascia, the more it has a possibility of tearing. The slower you pull it, the more it can change its shape. And then when you let go, it maintains that shape change. This is called viscoelasticity. It is rate dependent in change. So this is why when you do body work, when you do stretching, anything you're doing to stretch your fascia needs to be done very slowly because of the viscoelasticity of the collagen fibers. Elastin fibers retain their shape. After you stretch them out, then you let go, they go back to their original shape. And these are useful for things like the spring ligaments in your feet so that you can spring. There are also very, very small fibers, sort of immature collagen fibers. They're called reticular fibers. They're around your nerves. They're around your blood vessels. Fascia also has cells that makes fascia. They're called fibroblasts. Fascia has an immune system in it. It has macrophages and white blood cells in it. It has mast cells. Mast cells contain chemicals that cause vasodilation. So when I do body work on someone, I'm grinding up the mast cells, and this releases the chemical, which is what makes your skin red and makes it a little bit inflamed, so it can bring in healing immune system cells to that area. And fascia is set within a ground substance, and I want to spend a little bit of time on this ground substance. Ground substance is made up of these molecules called mucopolysaccharides. And these molecules are of such a size that the electrical repulsion of the molecules and the surface tension that pulls them together equals each other, so that these molecules hover in a dynamic tension, suspended in a distant relationship to each other. That relationship can be changed. If you heat up ground substance, which the fascia is set in, you can make this whole gelatinous ground substance more liquid. You liquefy it. How do you heat it up? Massage, stretching, self-massage work with the balls. Pushing on it slowly heats up the ground substance. If you don't touch the fascia, if you don't stretch the fascia, if you sit all the time or don't move very much, or don't move certain parts of your body, certain parts of your fascia very much, then that lack of movement, that lack of heat, that lack of energy allows the ground substance to harden and becomes more of a gel. And this movement between hardened gel and liquid sol, this is called thixotropy, this quality of fascia. Now, since fascia is everywhere, all interstitial fluid is connected to fascia. All fluid between your cells, in fact, all fluid in your body, is somehow connected to fascia. It's around fascia. If the ground substance is hardened, that area is hardened and there's little fluid flow through the area, so lymph and immune system cells cannot get into that area to fight disease. Hardened ground substance, hardened fascia, causes areas that are blocked off to this very powerful immune system that we have. And it decreases our capacity to fight disease in that area. We can soften that. We can soften it with massage. We can soften it with yoga. We can soften it with self-massage. And when we soften it through thixotropy and we make the area more liquid, now the immune system, the lymph, can come in there with these powerful immune system cells and attack those pathogens, eat them up with the macrophage, take them out of there, and excrete them. We need to also consider the problem of adhesions. Fascia is layered, so you have a muscle on this side, say, surrounded by fascia, a muscle on this side surrounded by fascia. The two layers of fascia facing each other, they have, at a molecular level, oxygen and hydrogen molecules that stick out from each other. Now, oxygen and hydrogen, these two elements are in love with each other. They're always trying to come together, always. If you do nothing, if you don't chaperone them, they're going to get together and they're going to create chemical bonds. So this layer of fascia and this layer of fascia in a certain part of your body that is not moving, that you're not moving, you're not stretching, you're not massaging, over time you will have chemical bonds grow between the two layers. These chemical bonds over a large area are called adhesions. These adhesions make it harder to move. So if you can't move that part of your body because it's stiff, then you're not going to bring energy, that is mechanical energy and warmth, to the ground substance. It's going to harden. The immune system and the lymph can't get in there. And this area is now vulnerable to disease. Think about what happens if you lock down your chest by, say, sitting at a desk all day or doing something where you're not moving, you're not opening up your chest. Think about what happens to your lungs, to your heart, to all of the vessels and tubes inside your thorax as they harden down and decrease the fluid flow through there. How's the immune system going to get in there to fight the pathogens that come in through our airways? It's not, and you're vulnerable to disease. Now, at this point, I have 3 more points I want to make. I want to talk first about tensegrity. Tensegrity. This is a word coined by Buckminster Fuller. It means integrity through tension, and it has to do with how the body holds itself up. If the body is not holding itself up and it collapses, then it compresses the organs and the structures of the body, tubes and all that. And if these are compressed, the ground substance hardens, and the immune function can't get in there to clean up the pathogens. So we want the body to be lifted up. We want good posture. And there are two models for understanding how the body. There's the allopathic medical model, which is that the body is a compression model. That is to say, everything's stacked on top of each other. Your vertebrae all stacked on top of each other. They have these little, donuts in between them, the discs, intervertebral discs. And the doctors think that over time, these flatten out because gravity's pulling us down. They dry out, and then you have problems in your back. So this is the compression model. And the compression model is true for structures like houses. It is not true for the human body. Because the compression model needs two things. One, it needs flat surfaces. And we have no flat surfaces in the body. All the joints in the body, the vertebrae are all at an angle where they connect to each other. Even the legs don't stack on top of each other on a flat surface. Also, you need a ground that doesn't move. So this is the problem in Los Angeles, where I come from. When there's an earthquake, the structures that are compression models, that is to say houses, they fall. But humans are moving all the time. So there's no way that we can be a compression model if we move. So we must be something else. And when Buckminster Fuller met Ida Rolf, the founder of structural integration, they talked about this, and they came to the conclusion that the body is a tensegrity system. That is to say, the integrity is through the balance of forces of tension in the body. So what are the tensional elements? Fascia. The bones are compression elements and spanners across which the fascia, and we're also talking about the muscles and the other connective tissue, they span across that and they pull to one side. But on the other side, it pulls to this side. And in the front, it pulls forward, and in the back, it pulls back, and there's spiral muscles around the vertebrae of the neck. And the balance of forces of all of these muscles, of all of this fascial, connective tissue, and muscular tension, that is what holds my head where my head is. Consider that all the way down the spine. That is what holds your spine where your spine is. And any problems that you have, any collapsing that you have forward or to the side or backwards or deep curves, are due to a breakdown of this tensegrity system. The problem with this for immune function is that if you're collapsing down, say, onto your liver, you're going to decrease liver function because you're compressing it. If you're collapsing back into your spleen or into your colon, or some tube is being cut off in the front here, for example, your lymph drops into your heart from a tube coming right here, right over your clavicle. If you're compressed down in here, you're going to decrease the space through which your immune system can function. So we need to consider having good posture. And the practices that do that are structural bodywork and stretching, yoga. The next thing I want to talk about is fascia as a semiconductor. When collagen fibers are stretched or compressed, they produce an electrical field. This is called piezoelectricity. You compress or you stretch a collagen fiber and it'll produce an electrical field. This electrical field then affects living systems in such a way that it tells it to either grow or destroy tissue. This is called semiconduction. That is when we move from one type of information to another type of information. So fascia is a semiconductor. It's taking every movement that you do, converting it into information that is telling your fascia growing and fascia eating cells, eat here, grow here, make it more here, make it less here. Which is to say that you are constantly remodeling your fascia. And this continues as long as you're alive. So an old person walking down the street, stiff on two stiff legs, this person, his fascia can be changed through body work, through stretching, slowly, gently. But you never stop changing until you die. So this has nothing to do with genetics, your back problems, nothing to do with genetics or any of that. It has to do with how you use your body and what you do and don't do on your body. Final point here. Fascia provides the space, the path, and the conditions along which all new tissues in the body grow. So, for example, in the nervous system, your nervous system, including your brain, your spinal cord, and out into the peripheral nervous system, all of these tissues, nerve tissues, are going to grow along fascia. If the fascia is not in good health, growth is inhibited. And this is true for every part of the body. Fascia responds to all forces placed on the body and therefore shapes the body according to these forces. In fascia, we can see the immediate structural result of the functional order of our life. Fascia records our history and it portends our future. Since fascia binds all the structures in the body, it is ubiquitous and unites all the structures in the body, we can also say that fascia is relevant, fascial health is relevant to every branch of medicine. Since bodywork works on the fascia, primarily, since stretching and yoga works on the fascia primarily, then bodywork is fundamental to every branch of medicine. In fact, my position is that bodywork should be primary medicine. So, stretch, get some bodywork, keep your fascia loose, pliable, vibrant, healthy, which will allow your immune system to run through your body and do its job and keep you healthy.